We are continuing our conversation about bullying in school here with Joanne Freiberg and Elaine Zimmerman. I want to talk about this. Esteem, self-esteem. If indeed the bullying centers around people being teased about their weight, their sexual orientation, if they don't speak the right way, their looks, is it more about self-esteem and a child being comfortable with himself to help deflect any taunts?
It's never the responsibility of the targeted student. The only way to tell if a student's going to be targeted is if they sort of wear a flashing sign that says, hit me, I won't hit back. And it could be for any kind of difference. But vulnerability is the key. Children who tend to be targeted are isolated. Those who would hurt others tend to have a neutral or elevated sense of self-esteem. We tend to think that children who
what do you mean with those who would hurt others?
Those who would engage in bullying behaviors. We tend to think they feel bad about themselves. It's not true, and that is one of the myths that's out there. Children come by inappropriate behavior toward others. The top reason is because they have role models in their lives who have shown them how. The second top,
at home then, huh? We're talking about home?
Absolutely. At home and playing fields. It's about role modeling. It's about the media. If they have somebody that they look up to on television or in film, and if those people don't treat others appropriately, they think that that's the way it happens.
We interviewed schools all over the state, spoke to students, and you would be surprised, though, at what can also cause this. Like there was one girl in Guilford who started poking and being a little mean, and her peer group thought this was cool, and no teacher stopped it. And then she was encouraged to continue. And she can't to this day explain why it happened. The mother can't. Perfectly lovely family. And then the girl she targeted died. And it is not known to this day, car accident, not known whether it was what caused it or not. So this actual woman who was the bully is now haunted for her life. She ended up going to school in our state, to college in our state, and became a speaker, as did her mother, on this. But really, when you look at her situation, it was that no one intervened.
And that's
in many
perfect
systems.
Example about why we have to intervene for mean-spirited behaviors. Had the adults in school understood that the poking and the hitting or whatever behaviors were going on was mean-spirited and not okay, that's a sign to intervene. Girls tend to turn things inward on their peer groups, and because of that, teachers don't pick up on it. I mean, they see
Are girls worse than guys when it comes to bullying?
They're different.
Different styles.
How so? Just more verbal, more indirect?
Girls will use the computer because they're anonymous and they can feel the power of it. There's a gossip to it. I can take a picture of you or talk about you. You don't even know I've done it, and now 5,000 people know about it. I socially isolate. Girls socially isolate more than boys.
It's about how the culture raises boys and girls. They're raised very differently with different kinds of messages. Boys tend to get picked on for being gender non-conforming if they act in a way that's caring or connected to others. They tend to get shamed.
How about this, from an old school standpoint, doing with bullying from a alpha male standpoint? You have a bully, you punch him in the nose, and that's how you deal with being a bully.
Violence begets violence, and unfortunately, if you do that in the workplace, you know what's going to happen. And if we, parents and other guardians who say, if somebody messes with you, hit him back, that's if we did that in your job setting, we wouldn't have a job.
But here, Stan, here's another variation on that. Somebody bullies, and somebody else turns to the bully and says, stop it. Who's the bystander? You know, that's the extraordinary thing. More children are the bystanders observing, and if they felt it was okay to stop the bad behavior, that could really turn it.
But there's guilt there, too, from that bystander who wants to stop it, but either is afraid to engage in violence and is sort of hemmed up, so they sit back. And then there's guilt after that, I assume,
right? You're so
right?
I was with a group of kids from many different schools, and they were talking about bullying for 3 hours together. And one little boy, sort of skinny and waif-like, had been bullied in an urban school. And a girl there had watched it. And she was very different from him, much more aggressive, much more sure of herself. And she, in this group, said, I saw that. I saw you. And if her witness could heal, he healed in that room. One, he had no idea she'd seen it. too, she said to him, "It was wrong and I didn't know what to do." And he's so relaxed. They were different cultures. There were totally different styles, and both of them came together, and it was profound. We need more of that. We need it where difference is embraced and people do not tolerate ridicule for difference, because the bully is a genius at going for difference.
All right, let me do this. We've got a few minutes left. I want to keep some things rolling here. As far as solutions, back now to other suggestions for parents. If you're dealing with a situation where your child is being bullied, what kind of things can we talk about? We've heard things from one, helping your child develop a strong sense of self. I mean, you guys say that that's not a big, that's a myth, right?
The top thing for parents, from my perspective, is to understand that if anything is happening and going on with your child, don't wait. Don't wait. Of all the cases that come to my attention, so often they say, this has been going on since the beginning of the school year. This has been going on for 3 months. And I say, and when did you bring it to the school? And they said, last week.
But teaching the child to respond without fighting is also an important element of this,
The
right?
child should respond back, though, because the bully actually does pick up if you just get more and more feathery and more frail. So if the child...
You're more vulnerable. The more frail you are, the more vulnerable you'll be.
So helping a child, take Aikido, go to karate, talk about it. But helping the child respond is good, but also reporting it. Because it is important for the child to know that the family's taking it seriously and that the school will take it seriously.
Schools have to listen. Schools have to listen. That's what we do at the State Department, is help schools understand the importance and the low threshold of identifying and dealing with mean-spirited behavior.
40 seconds, some quick myths and quick comments. Bullying is the same thing as conflict. Quick thought.
Bullying is abuse. Conflict is not abuse.
Bullying isn't serious. It's kids being kids.
Well, again, any kind of kids being kids that is mean-spirited is not okay. That's the threshold. Every single child in our nation deserves, not some, but all children to learn and socialize in a safe environment.
Listen, if it was just kids will be kids, we wouldn't have suicide from it.
How about this one? Bullying happens in those urban areas. Doesn't happen in the suburban areas. Not in my backyard. The other schools have.
It's an equal opportunity incident. I mean, it happens in urban, suburban, rural, small, large. It is, and it's, again, I like to back in it. It's about mean-spirited behavior. All kids are inevitably mean. It doesn't have to be acceptable.
All right. One thing you want to tell the schools, one thing to tell parents, and one thing to tell the child, him or herself.
So one thing is people need to know, okay, we've got a great law that says that schools need to come up with a prevention plan to make it not happen in the first place rather than respond after. So Joanne and I are both committed to preventing. That's the school thing.
Okay, so parent, if you're a parent now you're watching, one thing you want to tell the parent.
Communicate with schools.
One thing you want to tell the student who's saying, I'm seeing it, or I'm a victim, I don't know what to do. One thing.
If you're with some kids and you see someone being mean, stop it.
All right. Thanks to our guests. We appreciate it very much. Important topic. We'll bring you back on. We'll be joined next, folks, by a distinguished visitor from Jamaica who tells us how Hartford can better connect with its West Indian roots. Don't go away.